Thank you, Philippe. It's indeed, I'm very humbled because actually, I mean, the book was your idea. Asad Roy did an amazing job in writing it. It describes everything better than anything I could ever have written anywhere in the future, in 70 years from now when I would write my memoirs. So you deprived me of my book sales, future book sales. I'm sorry, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm still quite happy, and it's amazing, really. It's like written like a textbook. As you know, I'm here for 2 occasions, and it coincided very well together. On the one hand, I went yesterday to the White House to see President Obama. I spent hours with him and with Vice President Biden and the other administration officials yesterday for the whole day. I was very pleased because I heard everything I wanted to hear from them, and it's always nice to walk out of White House when you heard everything you want to hear, but actually not least the fact that they started the process of free trade agreement in Georgia, which nobody around us in the region has, with the United States, and it's a touchy year for the U.S. because, of course, they're going into election year. Free trade agreement is not a self-evident thing inside U.S. politics, and still so that's why it was a big gesture from this administration to propose it for Georgia. But the other very important thing I was very happy to hear, and I was humbled by it, was that President Obama said that Georgia has become the model of democracy and transparency for our region. And the other countries in the region would be asking if Georgia could make it, why we cannot make the same. And that's why we are especially grateful, certainly, to Assad for his amazing, and his team for amazing work. And as I said, nobody else has ever chronicled these reforms better than they did. And that's also part because they were part of it. And their work could hardly be more timely with all the events that are taking place in Northern Africa, indeed in Russia, and will take place in Russia soon as well, I hope. I will not enter into details of Assad's study. And I promise to keep my introduction, so I would like to answer your questions later. But if there is one message from the study that I would like to single out, is this: Georgia's success destroys the myth that corruption is cultural and gives hope to reformers everywhere who aspire to clean up their public services. What happened in Georgia, of course, was important to my country, but of course it's important also for worldwide. We idealistically believe that our citizens will start to respect the laws of their state if their state in turn would start to respect them. We believe that when the law would no longer be perceived to be an instrument of oppression, the Georgian people would embrace it, like it, follow it, protect it. So it was not a coincidence that we campaigned on a single slogan, Georgia without corruption. At the same time, it sounded like a pipe dream. But we were convinced that corruption was at the rotten core of all our problems. And what was more important, we believed that corruption could have been defeated. When a peaceful popular revolution, graciously baptized the Rose Revolution by CNN, brought us to power in 2003, the situation was so catastrophic that we had to reinvent Georgian state from scratch. It was the situation when we came, treasury was empty. We didn't know where to start with. I remember we first went, it was a young team of reformers, and it still is very young, by the way. I was young at that moment. Now I look old for Georgian politics, almost obsolete. But good news is that the younger ones are coming up and that's the good news. But then I was also relatively young, because I remember Bill Clinton first introduced me to Davos Forum, and he said, like, this is, what is this 35-year-old president, and how can he bring anything? I mean, he was very encouraging, but he was also saying that, and then there was a Western journalist that characterized our team at that time. A moment you would hardly call it a government, but a team, as an Ocean 11. That's what happens when you are brought in by a revolutionary wave. It's a wave. It's always move faster than you. And it's also a tide. You know, it comes forward and it goes back. And you better surf on it, because otherwise it can be very destructive. So there was no handbook to guide us. Now we have a handbook, and maybe others can be guided by it. But, well, Assad was a little bit late for us. He wrote this book a little bit later. I would have loved to have it on, like, in 2004 to read from it. The book is great. And that's exactly the way I think, even better, it describes things even better than they really happened in life, maybe. But it's not a criticism, it's just a compliment. But I think the main thing that is you need to be armed with the experience. And we also learned a lot from Estonia, from here and from there. We were often criticized for learning from Singapore, but we learned from Singapore as well. We learned from other places. We are still learning a lot. I still travel a lot. I learn a lot of things. My purpose of my travel mostly is like 20% meeting officials and 80% learning, looking at, learning from economic systems, retail shopping, architecture, infrastructure. I'm watching all of this. I'm very intrigued. And then you want to replicate the things in your own country. But the main lesson is that you should be daring. One should dare. One should take risks. One should go for it. Life is too short. A life without risk is too boring. And the rewards for rightly taken risk, or for risk plus luck, are too high. So that's my final words, and maybe we can have some questions. Thank you.